Burt Reynolds, born Burton Leon Reynolds Jr. on February 11, 1936 in Lansing, Michigan, grew up in a middle-class family before moving to Riviera Beach, Florida, where he developed a love for sports, especially football. Reynolds excelled at Florida State University, where he became a promising halfback on the football team. However, his dreams of a professional football career were shattered by a serious knee injury, which changed the trajectory of his life. After a few uncertain years, a teacher encouraged him to pursue acting, which ignited his passion for the stage. This encouragement led him to Hollywood, where he eventually made a name for himself, although the journey was far from easy. His early career saw him struggle with small roles, but he was determined to make it. And it wasn't long before his talent and presence caught the eye of producers. The breakout role. Deliverance. Reynolds' career took a dramatic turn in the early 1970s with his role in Deliverance, 1972. The film, which became both a critical and commercial success, showcased his ability to portray raw intensity and dramatic depth. The performance solidified Reynolds' place in Hollywood, proving that he was more than just a handsome face. Deliverance marked a significant milestone in his career, allowing him to break away from stereotypical roles and display his acting range. The film also marked the beginning of his rise to stardom, earning him widespread recognition and respect from critics and audiences alike. The film's success paved the way for more substantial roles and established Reynolds as one of Hollywood's most versatile and capable leading men. Personal life, relationships, and marriages. Burt Reynolds' personal life was just as dramatic as his career, with his marriages reflecting different stages of his journey. His first marriage, to actress Judy Kaw in 1963, came during his early rise to fame. While they shared a deep connection and mutual ambition, their relationship was fraught with emotional strain, largely due to the pressures of Hollywood and their differing personalities. The marriage ended in 1965, a period Reynolds later reflected on with regret, admitting that he wasn't yet mature enough to handle a lifelong commitment. More than 2 decades later, Reynolds married television star Lonnie Anderson in 1988, at the height of his stardom. Their union, initially celebrated as a Hollywood fairy tale, was marred by financial and personal difficulties, culminating in a bitter and very public divorce in 1994. Lonnie Anderson. Love, conflict, and public divorce. The marriage between Burt Reynolds and Lonnie Anderson captured the media's attention, with their glamorous public appearances and intense media scrutiny. However, behind the red carpet smiles, their relationship was far from perfect. Both were strong-willed individuals with demanding careers, and rumors of discord quickly surfaced. Financial troubles, infidelity, and allegations of abuse led to their separation in the early 1990s. The divorce, which played out publicly, was one of the most painful experiences of Reynolds' life, both emotionally and financially. Despite the bitterness of their split, Reynolds later reflected on his love for Anderson, expressing regret about how the relationship ended. By the time of his death, both Reynolds and Anderson had found peace and mutual respect, showing that time can heal old wounds. The friendship and respect for Clint Walker. Throughout his career, Burt Reynolds rarely spoke about his personal feelings toward his fellow actors, especially Clint Walker, a man many considered a true Hollywood legend. Both Reynolds and Walker shared a similar image as tough, rugged, and charismatic men, and their careers overlapped during the 1950s through the 1970s. However, it wasn't until later in Reynolds' life that he finally broke his silence on his friendship and admiration for Clint Walker. In a reflective interview, Reynolds described Walker as a mountain of a man with a commanding presence. He revealed that watching Walker dominate television in the 1950s left a lasting impression on him. Clint was already a star when Reynolds was just starting out, and the younger actor admitted to envying him a little, especially admiring his strength, dignity, and quiet confidence. Admiration for Clint Walker's character. As Reynolds reflected on Clint Walker's career, his words softened, revealing a deep respect for the man behind the tough guy persona. Clint wasn't just muscle and charm, Reynolds said. He was one of the kindest men I ever met in this business. Reynolds recognized that while both men shared a stubborn independence, Walker had a calm and composed demeanor that made him stand out. "Where I might blow up or joke my way through a bad situation," Reynolds said, "Clint would just look you in the eye and say what needed to be said. That's power, the quiet kind." Reynolds' admiration for Walker went beyond the screen. He saw him as a man of integrity who never let the pressures of Hollywood compromise his character. In an industry often defined by ego and scandal, Clint Walker remained a symbol of decency. The dream of working together. While Reynolds and Walker's careers rarely overlapped in terms of projects, the two actors did joke about working together in a Western film. Reynolds said, "We joked about doing a Western together. He'd be the straight arrow hero, and I'd be the smart-mouthed deputy who gets in trouble. It would have been a riot, but timing was never right." The idea of the two stars sharing the screen was tantalizing for fans, as their contrasting personalities would have created dynamic on-screen chemistry. Unfortunately, their careers never allowed for that collaboration, with Reynolds often tied up with his own projects while Walker was off making his own films. Despite this, Reynolds remained fond of the idea, believing audiences would have loved to see them side by side. Reynolds and Walker, Hollywood's toughest men fans, have long debated who was the toughest man in Hollywood, often pitting Burt Reynolds against Clint Walker in hypothetical showdowns. Reynolds, always the humble star, acknowledged that if it came down to a physical contest, Walker could have easily overpowered him. "If Clint wanted to, he could have snapped me like a twig, but he wouldn't," Reynolds remarked with a grin. That wasn't who he was. According to Reynolds, Walker's quiet strength was his true power. "He didn't need to prove anything to anyone," Reynolds said. "His presence alone said it all." This mutual respect between the two men was evident in the way Reynolds spoke about Walker, highlighting the values of humility, integrity, and strength that defined their careers. Final reflections and tribute to Clint Walker. In his final reflections on Clint Walker, Burt Reynolds spoke not just as a colleague, but as a man who recognized the rarity of someone like Walker in Hollywood. "Clint represented something that's missing now," Reynolds said. "He was a man's man, but also a gentleman." Reynolds admired Walker's ability to remain grounded and true to himself in an industry that often rewarded fame over substance. "He didn't need scandals or headlines," Reynolds concluded. "He let his work and his character speak for him." Reynolds' tribute to his friend was heartfelt and sincere, and in the end, he left a simple but powerful message. Clint Walker was a true legend, both on and off the screen. Burt Reynolds' passing, a loss to Hollywood. Burt Reynolds passed away on September 6, 2018 at the age of 82 from a heart attack at the Jupiter Medical Center in Florida. His death marked the end of an era in Hollywood, signaling the loss of one of the last great icons of American masculinity. Reynolds had faced health problems for years, including heart issues that had led to bypass surgery in 2010. Despite his declining health, he remained optimistic, still discussing upcoming projects and expressing his love for acting. His passing came as a shock to fans who had grown up watching his films, and it left a void in Hollywood that would never be filled. In his later years, Reynolds had found peace in his personal life and had distanced himself from the public eye, preferring a quieter existence in Florida. A quiet farewell, Reynolds' memorial service. In keeping with his wishes for privacy, Burt Reynolds' funeral arrangements were handled discreetly. His ex-wife, Lonnie Anderson, and their son, Quentin, oversaw the planning of a private memorial service. The service took place on September 20th, 2018 in North Palm Beach, Florida, and was attended by close friends, family, and a few colleagues. Those in attendance spoke warmly of Reynolds, recalling his kindness, humor, and loyalty. Quentin, who had kept a low profile throughout his life, gave a tender eulogy describing his father as a humble, loving man who always made time for family. Anderson, despite the tumultuous history with Reynolds, was said to have handled the service with strength and dignity, ensuring that his memory was honored with the respect he deserved.